July 21st, 1998.
From the high desert and the great American Southwest, I do good evening and or good morning. How are you? I'm Art Bell from the Tahitian and Hawaiian Islands, out west, eastward to the Caribbean and the U.S. Virgin Islands. Good morning in St. Thomas, south end to South America, north all the way to the pole, and worldwide on the internet. This is Coast to Coast AM, top of the morning. See how much trouble we can get in today. Let me tell you that coming up this Friday night, Saturday morning, once again, by popular demand, Gary North. In the next hour, by popular demand, Alex Collier. And I've got a lot of other stuff cooking for this week that I'm afraid you're going to have to find out about at the last moments because of the nature of the way it's coming together. So there you have it. Let's peruse the news such as it is. Starr appeals ruling over leaks. As his prosecutors questioned Secret Service officers, independent counsel Kenneth Starr fought a judge's ruling on just how much information he'll have to disclose over alleged grand jury leaks in the Lewinsky investigation. The Senate has rejected mandatory gun locks. Good for them. At least they've done something. Dealing a blow to handgun control advocates, the Senate turned back an election year Democratic effort to require that all handguns sold in the U.S. include safety locks. And, once they had a law that would require the sale of locks with guns, there would be but one step then to having a law which would say that all guns have to be locked, which is a crock. Now, nobody in their right mind wants children to get hold of guns, and nobody in their right mind would leave guns around for children to get hold of, but having a gun with a lock on it and then locked away in a safe or something like that, then you should not have a gun. If you need a gun, you're going to need it quickly. There are a few times in anybody's life, hopefully none, when you're going to ever need a gun. But if you do, you really need it. And you're probably not going to have time to hunt around for a key, go open a safe, unlock your gun, and then use it for whatever you're going to use it for. So, thank you. The unrelenting heat wave claimed more victims. Now 128 dead in 6 states because of heat. And it is continuing. Not here today. We are, of course, going over or to just about 100 degrees, 102 maybe. But thankfully, we've got some clouds. As a matter of fact, right now, here in the desert, it is kind of drizzling. No violent storms that I can see. A little bit of lightning out there, but nothing too serious. And the clouds have kept the temperatures down. No such luck for Texas, and I understand the heat wave is going to move toward the north and east, treating people in New York City shortly to triple-digit temperatures. Remember Commander Bill Donaldson? Well, from The Nation, published today the following. It says, pilot claims 2 missiles hit Flight 800. A retired Navy pilot who's been investigating the 1996 crash of Flight TWA 800 said Monday the plane was in fact destroyed by 2 missiles that exploded just off the left wing. William Donaldson joined at a news conference by 2 former TWA pilots and 3 eyewitnesses to the July 96 crash, did not say who they believe fired such missiles. One, he said, was launched from a boat just off the coast of Long Island, the other from a second vessel farther south. And I guess I probably ought to have Commander Donaldson back on again. He had some extremely compelling evidence regarding the final seconds of the black box digital readout that indicated tremendous overpressure from the outside. And I always thought Commander Donaldson was very credible. And so there you have it. He's said it. This is a very interesting story. You better listen very carefully to what I'm about to read to you. Russian scientists, this comes from the London Telegraph, Russian scientists are planning to put what will appear to be a second moon 10 times as bright as a full moon into the night sky above London and other cities in November as part of a scheme to end nighttime. Did you hear that? Let me read that again. Russian scientists are planning to put what will appear to be a second moon, which will be 10 times as bright as a full moon, into the night sky above London and other cities in November as part of a scheme to end nighttime. The orbiting space mirror will pass across the night sky quickly, up to 16 times in 24 hours, but will last only one night, November 9th, before burning up in the atmosphere. This is a test. The reflecting spacecraft, Zmaya 2.5, is part of a Russian-led consortium's plan which bears some similarities to the plot of the Bond film Diamonds Are Forever. The Space Regatta Consortium, which is a group of companies led by Energia of Russia near Moscow, wants to launch a constellation of several hundred mirrors, each up to 100 times brighter than the full moon. My God. To cast sunlight from the far side of the globe into the darkest corners of Siberia during Arctic winter and make city streetlights obsolete. The proposal, as you might imagine, has alarmed environmentalists and astronomers. Daniel Green of the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics said, quote, "I cringe to think that we could lose the night sky because of all these companies with brain-dead ideas," end quote. David Thomas of Bangor University told the BBC Wildlife that almost any ecosystem would get completely screwed up, his words, and that the permanent daylight could cause Arctic ice to melt. He said plants and animals depended on darkness. He said everything, sex, movement, feeding, is all triggered by day length. Provided there is little cloud on the night, London, Brussels, Frankfurt, Kiev, Seattle, and Quebec are among the cities that will be lit up by what will appear to be a disk between 5 and 10 times as bright as the full moon. Some estimates say it could appear to be up to half the size of the moon. The previous experiment, that would be spacecraft number 1, a 60-foot wide space mirror, was hampered by cloud, and at best it was only half as bright as the moon, since the reflector did not form a full disk. So, do you realize what they're getting ready to do? They are preparing to end nighttime. Now, initially, this will be in the northern latitudes. For example, Seattle, where I'm being heard right now. Now, folks in Seattle, you might want to comment, since you're going to be obviously affected. Try and imagine no more nighttime. Something that could potentially be as 100 times brighter than a full moon. Now, while that is not quite a second sun, it's not too damn far from it. 100 times brighter than the full moon. That would completely end nighttime as we know it, period. And I don't think I'm too wild about this idea. It may be that in very northern latitudes where they suffer a great deal of darkness, something could be done that would be reasonable, but the plans they have here, a constellation of several hundred mirrors, each up to 100 times brighter than the full moon, I think they've lost their damn minds. And just because we can do it doesn't mean that we should do it. But apparently, because we can do it, we're going to do it. I really honestly believe we've lost our minds. Now, as somebody who does a nighttime talk show, I'm pissed. How dare they take away nighttime? How dare the Russians unilaterally consider taking away the nighttime? Have they lost their minds? They wrote to me a minute ago that, didn't we just send them $22 billion so they could feed their people? And here they're sending rockets up to take away the nighttime? Here's somebody who writes, hey, Art, why the negative vibrations, old friend? Why not consider the new sky mirrors a gift from Russia to the lads down at Livermore, tinkering about with those pesky plasma cannons? Yeah. Hey, Art, if the night goes away, amateur astronomers will not be able to see it coming. Very good point. It is mostly the amateur astronomers, you know, who locate these Earth-crossing possible killer, what do they call it, extinction-level event rocks. So anyway, that's really driving me nuts tonight. It's real. Russians are actually planning to do this, and I bet we financed it too. Do you remember that meteorite that fell in Greenland? Well, next week, a team is going to, and by the way, how do I know it was a meteorite? I don't. But next week, a team is going to go to Greenland, and they are going to look for this so-called meteorite. Now, who knows? Who knows if it really was a meteorite? And I remember the movie The Thing. You remember that? Where they found a disc in the ice, and I'm not saying that's what they're going to find in Greenland, but I would say it's possible. And I'm tired of everything that falls from the sky immediately being declared to be a meteorite. So next week they're going to go and look, and I wonder if we're going to get a big surprise. All right, coming up in a moment, that was a lot. There is one more thing. I will be giving you the details, but the new survey is coming out, and I would like to tell you that we are number one in for example 25 to 54 age group. It's a very important age group for radio. In San Francisco, on KSFO, we have walloped KGO. We are number one. We are number one in Los Angeles. We are number one in San Diego. We are number one in Chicago. And we are number one in New York City. And I'll get the details to you as I can, but this is out in the last 24 hours. So in the nation's largest markets, I think that would be market 1, 2, 3, and 4 in order. We are, as they say in football,